Hello everyone, Christina Wolf here, and I feel like my camera is a little bit skewed. Welcome, sorry I'm a few minutes late. It's really dark here because there is a thunderstorm, or there's been storms, and I usually leave the window shades open so that, or the blinds open so that I can get some light in here, but there's no light. It's really dark out. And I'm also going to fix my camera here because I think we're a little bit skewed. A little bit skewed. Hopefully, guys will pop on. Well, anyways, I'm going to give it another minute or so here. And you like my hair? I'm enjoying the frizz from the weather. See, it has a mind of its own. It's been I wouldn't call it necessarily an intense week. I feel like there's been some movement of energy from all of the work we've been doing, if that makes sense. So I have my beautiful Himalayan lamp right here. I'm going to move that down here so it hopefully gives us some better lighting. If you don't have a Himalayan salt lamp, get one. They're excellent for purifying the air and just giving off nice, calming light. It's supposed to change the ions in the air somehow. And ironically, that's something that thunderstorms do as well. If you notice that, because right now, like I said, we're having thunderstorms here. If the barometric pressure changes or the ions in the air change very quickly, it can cause you to wake up out of a deep sleep. Whenever anybody who's followed paranormal activity, like people who do research on paranormal activity, the ions in the air are the things that change and indicate that maybe perhaps there is another entity here. So, this week, I was reading, actually, I'm sorry, I wasn't reading. I was watching a TED Talk on, by a lady named, I believe it was Susan David, on why it's good to embrace negative feelings. And she made, some of her statements started me thinking about how, when we say I am sad or I am angry or whatever it is, some negative feeling, we tend to identify with it as a sense of identity, rather than saying something like, I am noticing I am feeling angry, or I am noticing that I am feeling sad. So Susan David was talking about this concept of your feelings being a data source, an accurate data source, to be able to assign meaning to the world the way it is, not like false positivity. That yes, there's positiveness and there's negativeness. Or negativeness, is that a word? Positivity and negativity, but to always be falsely positive or falsely negative, I suppose you can look at it that way too, allows you to give like full meaning, like the full spectrum. Welcome if you're just joining. Hi, say hello. Hey, Bridget. Welcome, welcome. Let me know if you'd like a card. I was just talking about a TED Talk that I had posted on my Facebook page with Susan David about, basically she calls it why it's good to embrace negative feelings. And I thought, well, you know, this is perfect for anyone on a early childhood trauma recovery journey, because, you know, a lot of us may be afraid to feel pain or negative feelings because there is a lot of pressure in our society for us to be falsely positive. You know, we say, hi, how are you? Do we really care if you're not so good? Or and so the concept of when we say I am sad or I am angry or I am happy or whatever, instead of saying I am as in like a state of being of who we are, let it be a more just about it becoming a data source for us. Like, I am noticing that I am feeling a certain way. Our feelings become a data source rather than a state of being. And for those of us who are in some kind of recovery process, this helps to pass through the different spectrums of the map of consciousness, you know, without letting it be about our identity. Because anyone who's been involved, you know, or anybody who's been experienced trauma, it can affect your identity. And so you think, this is who I am. And this lady's TED Talk was really powerful because it tells you, one, to acknowledge your feelings, but two, to realize that your feelings are not who you are. And so this is really profoundly helpful to anyone on a recovery healing journey to learn how to really acknowledge the way they're feeling, but become, you know, just aware of it and not let it be the state that they're in, be the source of their identity. So anyway, I thought that was like really profoundly like kind of an aha moment for me. So rather than saying I am fill in the blank, say I am noticing, I am feeling fill in the blank. So we've got Bridget who'd like an animal card. And then from last week, I promised my good friend Mary I would pull an animal card for her as well. And so it's kind of dark and gloomy here, I was saying, because of the rain. So I have my little Himalayan rock salt lamp here to try to make it brighter. And I'm going to set the cards out now and open up sacred space. All right. So, all right, let's welcome the winds of the east. We call you in, winds of the east. We thank you, Brother Eagle, for your bird's eye view, for the springtime of our life, for the great void from which we learn where all things come from and to which all things go to in the end. It is the cycle of life, the beginning and the end, the alpha, the omega. We thank you, thank you, thank you for giving us perspective that we may not know about in this eternal mystery of the universe. We thank you so much for the place of the rising sun, the fire element, and of course, Brother Eagle, for the ability to give us great perspective and wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we welcome the winds of the south. This is the summer of our lifetime, earth energy. Brother Snake, we welcome you. We thank you so much for teaching us how to humbly shed old skin and to walk humbly close to the earth, to be in the noon of our lifetime, in full bloom, the here and the now. We thank you, thank you, thank you for this energy. Thank you so much. And now to the winds of the west. This is water element. This is Brother Jaguar. Thank you for your tenacity, for helping us in the fall of our lifetime to harvest the lessons of our rites of passage. We thank you so much for all that you bring to the table, for helping us through so many things and the emotions of our life. We thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And now we invite in the winds of the north, the spirit of our ancestors, spirit of hummingbird, spirit of elk, caribou, for endurance during the winter of our lifetime, for helping us to go within, to hibernate, and to trust in our own wisdom and from the places that we come from in our own history. We thank you so much. This is air element. This is the ability to truly know wisdom in our minds. Thank you so much for this. And then we welcome Mother Earth as we feel her beautiful energy, whether our feet are directly on the ground or we're seated and we feel it through the energy of the backs of our thighs in the chair. We thank you so much for giving us this beautiful strength and wisdom and helping us feel grounded and holding us in the womb of your being. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all sustaining of life. And we thank Father Sky and the Star Nations. We thank you so much for being here, for watching over us, for being the space of which we came from, the Great Spirit. And to all the Star Nations that are, advanced in technology and consciousness, we hope to catch up to you someday. And we thank you so much for watching over us, for your benevolence, and I think, frankly, the place of our origin. So thank you so much for existing, just being. And we also thank Grandmother Moon and Grandfather Sun for showing us and reminding us about the cycles of life, and that everything is always in a state of change, and yet also the patterns of the cycles of life can be comforting. So we thank you for reminding us of that. And we thank you for our spirit guides, our archangels, our ascended masters, Jesus, Mary, Buddha, and any other benevolent light being, or we have a family member who's passed on who speaks to you frequently. We thank you for your wisdom in this sacred space, and know that only that which is of the light is welcome here. And we thank you so much for all of the guidance that you give us. So let's see what we have today to bring to the table for this week, this coming week. We've had some crazy stuff happen. School shootings here in Santa Fe High School in Galveston, Texas, which is maybe an hour away from where my older sons live. And there's this Mars energy, that Uranus and Taurus energy, that's the energy of like kind of forcing you to do the things that you know you need to do if you haven't been moving on it. It's more to it than that, but I really think we may start seeing some more laws, because of course Saturn is a big part of Saturn's in Capricorn for a while, and Saturn in Capricorn is all about laws and things in the 3D world that we have to tend to, like bills and laws and the reality of things. And it's Father Time, things that are just like very concrete. And there are some things in our world like that are shutting down that weren't like the state of the church or the state of the banks, many things like that are we're questioning now. We're saying, is this really the way it should be? Or the wool's been pulled over our eyes, and now we're saying, no, let's see if what we were taught, what is the foundations of everything, are no longer really the truth. So this is a profound time to be alive. This is a very important time to be alive. And so it's really important that when we do work like this, that when you work on yourself and your own consciousness, that's how you change the world. That's how, right in your own backyard, like Mother Teresa would say, you want to change the world, go home and love your family. It's that ability at a very basic atomic level, maybe on the Akashic field level. This is how we're affording change. We're affecting change. Look at the royal family, the royal wedding that just happened. And not in a million years would we have thought, like, in old stodgy, like royal upper crust gentry would a biracial divorced woman be marrying the prince of the nation. This is what we mean by like a whole new paradigm, a whole new way of being. And I think, as part of half of a interracial couple, I thought it was great to see a Southern Baptist gospel choir singing or in I think, what is it, Kensington Palace, or what is it, the Windsor Castle, where they held this wonderful wedding. And it's just a sign of the times. It's a sign of the times that, and I don't know if you caught that pastor, what he had to say about, you know, if love was the way, if love ruled the world, you know, if you catch it, I think his name is Michael Curry. I could tell some people were supremely uncomfortable, you know, listening to this Southern Baptist African-American guy talk about this. If you watch the royal wedding at all, I just saw so much of our culture and the paradigm, so much going on there. There's so much undercurrent and the collective unconscious there. But I do have to say, the younger generation, the princes, the royal family, they are more progressive. They are talking about mental health and how they lost their mother at a young age, and how, you know, the idea of trauma is something that's important to talk about. Like, your mental health is a priority. And so the way we address our priorities, you know, our mental health and taking self-care, is to really care for the soul. Do the things you need to do to tend to your soul. And as I was saying, ask yourself, how am I feeling? Is this feeling is truthful to you? It may be subjective, but it is true. It is the data source for you to know, like, where am I at? What, you know, how am I feeling? And to really own the authenticity of your feelings. If you're not feeling okay, then say you're not feeling okay. If, you know, and when you can own all the spectrums of who you are, and that means if you've been in a state of, you know, trauma and you're not feeling good and you've never felt good, then you need to allow yourself to make feeling good or learning how to feel good be a priority. So I'm going to, that said, I'm going to shuffle 2 times. And this is kind of like the energy that I'm feeling that's coming for this week. Letting what's true for you, good or bad, don't assign any meaning to it, just what is true for you, to come up and let yourself be a priority. Like, if you're really truly not feeling good, then say I'm not feeling good. If you really want to feel good, own your desires and say, yes, I would really like to feel good, and I believe this is possible for me. There's, you know, but good or bad, don't not deal with it. I guess that's the point. That's the energy around this Taurus and Uranus. Like, you're going to deal with it one way or another. You're going to deal with how you're feeling, because whether you acknowledge it directly, you'll get put in a situation that will force you to deal with your stuff. But in the end, the best part, it's all for the benefit of your soul. It's all for the benefit of your soul. Okay, so this is for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And if you're just popping on, welcome. Let me know if you'd like a card after the weekly reading, and I will be sure to add you to the list. I've got Bridget, and I do have one for Mary, who had requested from last week because she could not be here. She's in Italy, and this time doesn't work for her. So if you do catch these on the replay and you never get to get a card, let me know, and I'll make sure I add you to the list, okay? So, and I can feel it, like the storm. If my internet goes a little crazy, it's because we have a thunderstorm going on over here. All right, Monday, Tuesday. King of Cups. We're all in our feelings this week, our emotions. Can you hear that? I don't know if you can hear the sound of the rain on the windows here, but it's pretty loud. I find that really peaceful, actually. King of Cups. Saw Palmetto. You guys see that? It's a little bit blurry. A king sits on his throne, holding his chalice of love and desires. He is surrounded by the sea of the subconscious, which contains his emotions, inspirations, and dreams. So we're talking about that, like really owning your desires and acknowledging how you're really feeling. And let it be a source of data, not who you are. So the fish symbolizes his ability to move in these underwater depths to indulge his visions, fantasies, or erotic reveries. And that's acknowledging how you're feeling, being able to acknowledge and move along the spectrum of the map of consciousness, you know, from guilt, shame, whatever, all the way up into enlightenment. That resiliency, that what Susan David called emotional agility, this is what helps us to have a more meaningful life. And I think that's what the King of Cups is talking about. So it says the fish symbolizes his ability to move in these underwater depths to indulge his visions, fantasies, or erotic reveries. Can you swim in deep waters, or are you afraid of the depth? So, being imbued with a strong, passionate nature, he learns how to master his emotions through detached awareness. See, it's a source of data. Like, okay, I'm feeling sad. Noted. I got it. All right, why am I feeling sad? Well, maybe because I'm watching something that, you know, doesn't jive with my values, and I realize my values are X, Y, and Z, and I'm watching this, and it's representing something different. The King of Cups has at its disposal the power of creative imagination, which may be channeled into his relationships or into visionary expressions in the areas of business, law, divinity, art, music, science, or the healing arts. So yesterday I did an interview for my Discovering the Empowered Self speaker series all about early childhood trauma, and me and the guest speaker, we were talking about how she's also works in the shamanic medicine, and look into shamanic journeying. If you're really needing to release some things and to notice stuff in the dream world, in the emotional world, in the spiritual realm, a shamanic journey is pretty much what they're talking about here. Creative imagination. It's your imagination, but it's also where spirit kind of takes over. And it's separate from meditation. It's separate from just sitting there and trying to calm the mind and empty it out. The shamanic journey is like, what is your subconscious bringing up for you? Because really you're allowing yourself to go into a dreamlike trance to witness. You're sort of awake and dreaming at the same time. And you learn so many valuable things. So I think King of Cups is saying, allow yourself to use this as a tool, this power of creative imagination, which may be channeled into his relationships or into visionary expressions in the areas of business, law, divinity, art, music, science, or the healing arts. So if the king should get clouded about the issues at hand, he can be as violent as King Titan, god of the sea, who could create turmoil and horrendous waves due to his jealousy and imaginings. He may become obsessed with scandal, sex, deviousness, and the dark crafts. This is also important. This is mentioning how the darkness of life is just as equally relevant as the lightness of life, if that makes sense. Like, don't judge good or bad. Just let it be. Witness it. And notice that, you know, I'm allowing myself to not cut myself off from parts of myself because I'm not assigning meaning to them. This is that emotional agility that I was talking about. So saw palmetto symbolizes reproductive and creative energies. These energies can be squandered in sexual exploits, or they can be sublimated and used to increase inner potency and creativity. It's also important to pay attention to where you're putting your energy. For spiritual purposes, the dried berries can be worn in a pouch or strung in a bracelet or necklace and worn to increase physical and emotional potency. This is all about intimacy and openness. How open are you, frankly, to yourself? Cultivating masculine sensitivity. That's really important. And this whole, the feminine paradigm, it's not just about women, you know, becoming equal to men and all that. It's men and women valuing our inner knowing, valuing that part of ourselves that is emotional, and assigning value to it. The ability to receive as well as to give of oneself. developing one's capacity for close sharing, erotic potential. So this is what Mr. King of Cups is all about. So, and this is the energy we're going into. Well, really, frankly, how well do you know yourself? And in the knowing of yourself, you will be able to connect more closely to others. Need to open up creatively and or sexually, giving counsel or care to others. And also, in order to do this, you have to be a detached observer and not allow for emotional excesses. I am open to giving and receiving in an intimate way. And if you're in the trauma response, this can be a huge struggle for you.